Hmm. Morning, afternoon, everybody. Topher Taylor here. Says, hope they haven't give you too much shit for the Kolos demo. I don't. I think I'm the least of their problems, to be honest with you. And I don't know if you saw Arnold play Arnold's demo. From Arnold plays guitar. I was much kinder and much more subdued than he was. Because he got they sent him the same guitar, and I mean he ripped that thing to shreds. Phil McKnight, pointed out a number of things about that guitar as well. So, plus now, there's now a Kolos Guitars Facebook group, and the same complaints are going on, from a number of people, in that group from those guitars. So, I mean, there's a lot of problems with those, unfortunately. So, I don't. Like I said, I still don't. Pardon me. I still don't anticipate getting rid of mine, or anything like that. I mean, I still like it. I like the neck on it anyway. But plus, I'm gonna, I want to throw some different pickups in it just to try them out, just for kicks. But which won't happen for a few more months. But I don't know. It's a unique guitar. I like the idea. I like the concept. But they definitely got some QC bugs that they need to work out. So, and it's not just, like I said, clearly it's not just me. I've seen it from a lot of different people that received those guitars. So, whether they paid for them or they didn't. Let's see. Daveescobar, Joe Hervey 84. Hey, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. What's up, man? The Thunder Falcon, Crossroads Crawfords. What's up, Brian? So, yeah, 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. First live stream of the year. Really, first video anything on this channel for the year. Actually, yeah, because I haven't had a new video go up since Wednesday. So, be another one tomorrow, as usual. Serenity Guitars, Music Zep Kid. Music Zep Kid's a Witch lead guitarist, and Megadeth is the best at rhythm. Well, Dave Mustaine. I think even James Hetfield is on record saying that Dave Mustaine was arguably the best metal rhythm player ever. So and he does excel at as a rhythm guitar player. So but if you're asking other than Dave Mustaine, because he does also play a lot of lead stuff. But if you're asking other than Dave Mustaine, I still got to go with Marty Friedman. I mean that was the best, by far the best guitar duo that band ever had by a lot. So Chris Broderick was good. Chris Poland was good. Al Petrelli was good. A lot of those. I mean, they've had a lot of great guitar players, but I mean, the duo of Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman were by far. Pardon me. Eric Filsinger says classic metal versus new metal. I'm not. Are you talking like genres, or I'm not sure what you're asking me there. So I will need you to elaborate. These Vintage Guitars. Joe Trey is here. Another new name I'm not familiar with. Welcome to you. Happy New Year to you as well. Christopher Bass. Let's see. You guys want to hear something funny? Let me find it real quick. Some dude named Mark Dalton left a comment on my channel on my worst amps ever video. That was a video I did like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that. He's all bent out of shape. Probably somebody looking for purchase validation, and he says, and both of those amps sound awesome. Just because you can't dial in an amp is not the amp's fault. Unsub. So I guess my confusion here is I've actually gained like 3 subscribers in in the last hour since that comment was left. So I don't know which one you are, Mark. Let's see. Christopher Bass. Christopher Bass says, I don't understand how metal defaulted to metal core crap instead of power metal being the dominant subgenre. I don't, honestly, I always thought it would have been thrash that would have been the dominant subgenre, because that's the, probably the one that was around, as subgenres started to form. I would say thrash was definitely one of the earliest, and no question the most popular. At the time that it, the early '80s when it took off. Nobody had ever seen, heavy metal had never seen anything like what, Slayer and Metallica and Megadeth, those bands were doing. So. Thunder Falcon says, when will we see companies start promoting their new gear? Well, it's really it's already started. For here in the last month or so. You've seen Boss that have they've announced a couple of new pedals. Like they got that new Wazacraft tone bender that's coming out. Boy, what I think Fender's announced a new guitar model or two, like a signature Strat or Duotone or something or other. I don't remember what it was, but so I mean, just, keep your ear to the ground. Pardon me. On the interwebs, and that's where it's all going to happen this year, because there's no NAMM show. So, which as much as as cool as the NAMM show is, I'm not going to complain about my YouTube feed not getting flooded with NAMM videos. At the end of January. So, I mean, NAMM videos get real old real quick. Some are better than others, but but that's that's how companies are going to do it. They're going to be relying on online marketing and online marketing. Probably some not me likely, but the larger the bigger YouTube channels as part of that. So for the big companies anyway. Daveescobar says, what amp was he whining about? I think he was talking about Mr. Dalton. I think pardon me. In a comment prior to that, he was saying that he owned a Bugera, probably I think it was a V55 or something like that. Didn't specify whether it was the Infinium version or not, and also said he owned a Spider 5 240, which would have been a Spider 5 series with the current model, which wasn't even included in that video. Spider 2s and 3s were, I think, but I didn't include the 5s in that video at all. So anyway, so I'm assuming it was probably either the Line 6 stuff or the or the mention of the Bugera, early Bugera amps. I don't know, definitely, like I said, somebody just, I've been doing this long enough. I mean, purchase, people coming to any channel looking for purchase validation. I always get mad when they don't get it. So, which blows my mind. I don't understand that line of thinking at all. But it seems to be pretty common. So, a lot of times I get spotted a mile away. It'd be a video on a Boss pedal or something, and somebody will leave a comment. So, what's your thoughts on some totally unrelated piece of gear? So, half the time I just, I give really, really vague answers that tell them nothing, just because I know that's what they're looking for. hmm. Eric Filsinger says metal with vocals you can sing versus screaming vocals not discernible. I don't like, I do not like the screamo growlo, type stuff at all. I've never enjoyed. I mean, there's a few exceptions out there, of course, but for the most part, no. I mean, I prefer metal with actual technical vocal skills. Of some degree. They don't all need to be. Every singer doesn't. Every metal band doesn't have to have Ronnie James Dio, of course, but. It's a lot more enjoyable to me when the singer can actually sing. Oh, there goes my light. Hang on a sec. Sorry about that. I'm going to leave that cranked up a little bit, see if that helps. It doesn't look too much better, actually, but oh well. Let's see. No one says, any exciting gifts from Santa? Yeah, as a matter of fact, my lovely bride got me this brand new Panasonic camera that I wanted. And I was not expecting it at all. But she came through and made it happen. So I've already shot a few videos with it, 3 to be exact, and I really, really like it because it's awesome, and it shoots killer video, and it's perfect. So got a little flippy outy screen there, so when I'm sitting in front of it, I can see what in the hell is going on. And a whole bunch of other features that I haven't even gotten into. I mean, the manual on this thing's literally like that thick just for the English portion of it. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that I haven't even gotten into, and I won't use most. There's a lot of it that I won't use just because I use it for video. I don't, really take photos. So, but that was the big one. So, I got a couple. So I got that. Really the only actual guitar gear that I got was, I got some nice patch cables that I needed. Those are Eminence patch cables. I've never used Eminence cables before, but they appear to be, especially I tossed out the package that came in already, but they appear to be just rebranded Mogami cables. So I got that, and I got something called a string butler for one of my Les Pauls. That I'll do a video on that here, probably, I don't know, it'll be this week or next, but I've still got a few other things laying around here that I still need to get done. And, my buddy Nate Helpman just messaged me here this afternoon. I guess he's got another overdrive pedal he wants to send me, so, but that's good. That's how this thing keeps rolling. Joe Trace's Diamond Head was around the 70s. Yeah, but they were more new wave British heavy metal. I know they're I wouldn't they weren't thrash. They inspired thrash, no question. But they're Metallica in particular. But they were more that British style heavy metal than anything. in my opinion. Of course, that's something we could argue about all day, but hey, Brian Crawford just cracked open the PayPal super chat thing here today. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, dude. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good holiday. I haven't seen you in a while. Of course, I'm not at the store anymore, so which is where I used to always run into you. Christopher Bass says Hammerfall was a side project of In Flames members originally. It was almost a joke band. Someone sent their demo to Nuclear Blast, and the owner was ecstatic. Someone did something not death metal. I love Hammerfall, and I can imagine exactly how the owner, whoever was on the label, could have gotten excited when he first heard him, because I was excited when I first heard him, because that was the first metal band that I heard in a while that wasn't that that screamo shit, with actual like technical skilled musicians that were playing heavy metal. So yeah, Hammerfall is a great band. They've had a lot of turnover. I don't know. I don't know how many of those guys are actually original members, but Swedish dudes. Rockin' Dave Byron's here. What's up, dude? So I hope 2021 is better than 2020. At least we're still gigging down here in Southwest Florida. That's one of the few places in the country that there's still people are still gigging. There's not too many of them, unfortunately. So, but Happy New Year. Let's see here. No drunk Andertons videos this year. When did they post a drunk video? And more specifically, who was in it? Thunder Falcon says she'd do a video on how shitty that amp was just to piss him off. That would be an ultimate know your troll video. The problem is, in order to get a hold of one of those amps, I'd have to buy it, and I'm not putting up a pile of my own money to buy a bunch of amps. Any amp that I hate. Michael Luce says Cookie Monster vocals. Jumping Man's a happy. Who's Rob? Okay, let me clear the air on this right now. I do not answer to Rob or Bob, or I don't answer to anything but Robert. And the reason why is because when I was a kid, various people around me decided they were going to give me nicknames that I didn't like, shortening, such as the ones I just mentioned, and I didn't like answering to them, and I sucked it up, and I let people get away with it. And I let people walk all over me throughout, the first portion of my life by calling me whatever they wanted, and finally the day came that I decided I was tired of it, and I will not answer to those names any longer. So, you do not get to decide what I will answer to. I decide what I answer to. So that's the reason why. It's very personal to me. I don't care if you understand it or not. That's not my problem. But that is the reason why. So, so if you call me anything but Robert and I don't respond, don't get pissed off, because that's why. Let's see. Christopher Bass says Carl Sanders writes good enough riffs so we can excuse his death metal singing. I don't even know who that is. BuddyGuitarist.com says totally agree. Prefer singing to screaming. I think most. I don't know anybody I don't know why anybody would prefer screaming if given a choice. Let's see. James Severin is here. What's up, man? Michael Robinson, Gargoyle 84, Alan Orange, and a whole bunch of people I haven't gotten to yet. Michael Luce's Dio was awesome. Dio was awesome. Both the band and the man. You know, Ronnie James Dio was a monster singer, man. Man, God, that guy was great. And he sounded just as, you know, what you heard in the studio is what you heard, you know, that what you heard when they played live. You know, he was a very, very talented singer. It's a shame that he passed. Mm, Eric Zolsingers, there we go. Michael Robinson. Do you know about and have any opinion on the Jammy Midi digital guitar? I know nothing about it. You know, in my opinion, if a guitar, you know, if a guitar is, in my experience, if a guitar is called a MIDI guitar, it's not really a guitar. You know, it's definitely more of a MIDI controller of some kind that may have some guitar-esque uh, characteristics to it, but it's not the same instrument. So that particular one, that one I'm not familiar with. Topher Taylor says Windows killing the white balance. Really? I thought it actually looked pretty good today. I toned down the. Does it look backlit to you guys? It actually looks about right to me. If it's backlit, let me know, and I'll jump up and I'll close the blinds and I'll adjust the camera. Dave Escobar says, I liked your new ex-fireman video. Found it on Amazon, decided to take a chance on it, and then your video came out. Really awesome pedal. 80s hair metal, Doc and Rat, etc. Absolutely it is. You know, it does all that stuff real well. Like I said, it's a Friedman BEOD, in a box. You know, well, I guess I guess so is the Friedman BEOD, but it's basically what it's a clone of. The BEOD, it's got to be the BEOD Deluxe. It would have to be. The regular BEOD is a lot smaller, but so they hats off to New Xman. You know, they got it right. You know, Friedman may be pissed off, but like I said, hats off to New Xman. They I've always liked their stuff, man. I've always thought they put out real cool pedals, even before, like right, I don't know, 10 years or so ago, 8 years ago, when the the Chinese import budget brands all started coming out, the Joyos and the K lines, and they were all basically producing the exact same stuff, just with a different logo on it. Newarks were the ones that were actually already doing something a little bit different. They were they had that line of dual switch pedals, like the what's that thing called? I have one too. The Time Force, like the Time Force delay, and they had a modulation pedal in that line, and I think they had a distortion or overdrive or something. They had a lot of stuff out by then, but seemed like they were the ones that were already advancing past the carbon copy, mini style, one switch, three knob kind of models. So yeah, they did. Matter of fact, I still got it sitting right here. They did a great job with this thing. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out the video on it first, and then go buy one, because they are awesome. And for $100 ish, yeah, I think they're $100, maybe 109 or something. Anyway, right around $100. Great pedal, man. Great pedal. Alan Orange says, do you think some gear companies face near terminal losses? Would they go after Behringer and other budget companies and PR campaigns and lawsuits? Well, it depends. I mean, that's when you're getting into lawsuits about like copyrights and trademarks and stuff like that. Essentially, intellectual property. There's a lot of really, really fine lines that are really, really easy to cross, and it's sometimes those companies win, and sometimes they don't. The problem with for example, like if Friedman decides to go after Nuix for building this pedal, I doubt they will. It doesn't seem to me like they would do that, but should they? If you and I've never cracked open the back of a BEOD or a BEOD Deluxe or even this one, but I'm willing to bet if you eyeballed them next to each other, side by side, they would probably look different, in some form, fashion, or another. I mean, one thing I'm sure of is that Nuix did not take pardon me, they did not take that BEOD circuit and basically throw it into a Xerox machine and then stick it in their own case. That's not what happened. I mean, they probably used the BEOD as a basis, and then went and redesigned their own PCB board after it. So, in a court of law, to try and prove that that Nuix copied Friedman in that instance, I think would be very, very difficult. So, which is why there's so many different, tube screamer circuits out there, and so many, so many blues driver circuits, and so many, you name it. There's just many, many different versions of the same circuit out there all over the place. And, whether you're talking pedals or amps or, all that stuff. So, there's a fine line there, but, realistically, it's, so much gear is now inspired by something else rather than copied after. And so, and the truth is, there's always going to be people that are just, even if something is a clone of something else, there's always going to be that contingent of people that, they want the real thing. They want the original. They want the, they don't want a copy. They don't want a clone. They don't want a, whatever name, whatever label you want to put on it. That's not what they want. They want the real deal. So, they don't, for example, they don't want a Ibanez, whatever that Strat model was that they came out with a couple years ago. They want a Fender Strat, right? Just because the Fender Strat is the original and a story. So, there's always going to be that group of people out there that will, that'll always be that way. You'll never change their minds, and and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So now, and I'll say this and finish up this thought, but on the other side of that coin, if you're like Gibson, you take it too far and you sue everybody who puts out a single cut guitar, thinking that you're gonna that the Les Paul is going to be the only single cut Les Paul, single cut solid body guitar model on the market, period, and anywhere, end of story. It's not going to happen. Number two, you're going to turn everybody against you if you keep doing that stuff, because look at Gibson's reputation now. Compared to what even 10 years ago, it wasn't as damaged as it is now. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's they've had their ups and downs over the years, of course, but but one reason why so many people are turned off Gibson is because they keep suing everybody. They keep suing all these other brands a lot of people love, like Dean and now Kiesel and all this stuff. So and that never comes of it anyway. Let's see. Hey, Jeff Parker hitting up the super chat. Thanks, buddy. It's a Zoe Treat Fund. So she's Mrs. Jackson is actually home. Today. She usually works on Saturdays, but she got the weekend off because of the holiday. So she is. So Zoe's downstairs on the couch with her mama, and they are both enjoying each other's company while I'm up here hanging out with you guys. And having fun while they're at it. So I'm sure you guys have noticed how much quieter it's been today than it usually is. Eric Filsinger says I got a DD500 sounds better than the or DD200 sounds better than the 500. It's realistically it should sound about the same because they're the same effects engine in both of them, but it's the same technology. The DD200 is just a little bit smaller. There's most things that the 300 or that the 500 will do that the 200 can also do. I like the 200 myself. Matter of fact, I love the 200. That's now my favorite delay pedal. That replaced the DD7 that I still love before that. So, matter of fact, I've got all the 200 series pedals sitting on a shelf here right above me, along with all the rest of my Boss pedals. Come to think of it. Yeah, congratulations, man. That's a killer delay pedals, man. Yeah, man, for $250, man, that thing's hard to beat. $250. That thing cost you $400 in any other brand. Let's see here. Also, JG JG Mopar is also hitting up the PayPal donation this brand new year. Thank you, sir. I haven't seen you in here yet, but there you are. Hey, buddy. JG Mopar. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So that is going towards the fund. Let's see. Gary Shelley's here. What's up, man? Says check out Mystic Prophecy and Primal Fear, both German power metal bands. Both are great bands. I think you'll like them. I will check those out. May have to send me a link or something to remind me, but hey, Bipster's Repair Shop is here. What's up, buddy? Tam's World, Tham's World, Tam's World, Tom's World, Tam's World. I'm going with Tam's World. H is silent, I'm guessing. Hey, and there's somebody that understands. It's the same. My name is Michael, not Mike, not Mikey. Whenever I communicate with somebody, that I'm like meeting just for the first time, and their name is, they've got one of those names. I always ask. So do you prefer Michael? Do you go by Mike? Which do you prefer that I address you? And it just, because again, I get it. So. I do it in business. I do it just, meeting people on the street, wherever it may be. John Giraldi, welcome to you, sir. Says Robert, first time live viewer, late to your channel, but binge watching when I can. Great channel for kicking off searches down internet rabbit holes. Kudos. Thank you, sir. I get the rabbit hole. It's not. I know it's not a complaint, but it's a lot of people saying that they start down the YouTube rabbit hole with oftentimes my channel anyway, I guess. So, which is cool to hear. Bibster's Repair Shop says, only thing I ever got with Kyle is people calling me Kylie in college. If I was zoned out, and my buddy would say he is in Kylie land. That's a little bit different story, though. That's not random people that you don't know just deciding to give you a nickname that you didn't ask for. Jack Collins is here. Joe Trey. Like I said hi to Joe Trey earlier. Let's see. Savannah Guitar says, if I don't get a job at Cummins, I would like to work at a guitar place learning some detailed luthier stuff. Boy, who around here would do that? There's a shop up here on the north side town where I live, if it gets to that point anyway, I mean, I can refer you to him to see whether he's hiring or not. I don't know. He's pretty small shop. Like a 2-3 man operation is really that's really all he needs. So I don't know if he's got anybody. If he's got a position that he needs to fill right now or not, or an apprenticeship that he's looking to fill or not. So we'd have to talk to him. But yeah, Kevin Heffernan. Kevin Heffernan of Center Stage Guitars in Noblesville, Indiana. If you want to look him up, great guy. JG Mopar says I'm late. Yeah, for what it's worth, I was late getting this thing started today too. So I slept a little bit later than I usually do, but I slept exceptionally well. And but it's like I got up. It took me a little bit to get my camera and everything set up and all that fun stuff. And so here we are. But it's Saturday, and I take my time on Saturdays and Sundays because these are my days off. Press release. Give me a moment here, fellas. I'm trying to get caught up. You guys are once again typing faster than I'm reading. I'm not a very fast reader. Dame's World says, I'm so sorry, but I'm questioning your shirt. Are you sure there is more than guitars? Well, you can't see the rest of the shirt. Where it says, there. There's more to life than guitars, but I ignore them. You can actually buy this shop here in my... that reminds me, I should probably pin my Teespring shop. Here. There we go. So now... I've forgotten to do that the last couple of times. There is a link to my Teespring shop there in the chat now. So if you are interested in that shirt, that's where you can get it. And it's actually a really nice T-shirt too. So I think there's I tried to fix this a while ago, but it didn't take. There's like a couple of different versions of this shirt. Buy the one of them's like $1 more than the other. Buy the more expensive one because it's a way, way nicer T-shirt and much more comfortable. I need to get rid of the more inexpensive one to begin with, but Mikey Gabbard says, what's everyone's favorite reverb pedal? Oh, my favorites are that thing burned out already. Wow. Be right back. Cheap ass batteries. Reverb pedals. Yeah, my favorites are I like the Digitech Polara reverb. That one's really cool. The MXR M300 reverb is a really good reverb pedal. Of course, the Boss RV6 is excellent. Yeah, those were really my three favorites. So, um, I don't have a reverb pedal that I really like. I don't use reverb that much, but you know, I've demoed 2 out of 3 of those on my channel, but I've never, but they belong to somebody else. I had to give them back. So I don't have a really good reverb pedal now that I think about it. I have reverbs. You know, the Joyo was the Aquarius or the Atmosphere, whichever one of those is the delay, one of those is the reverb, and I've already forgotten which is which. I think it's the Aquarius. I think the Aquarius is the reverb. Anyway, it's okay. You know, I didn't like it nearly as well as I thought I was going to, because the delay was really good. But but it's okay. It gets the job done. Let's see. Here's cheap as turn that down a bit. And what do we got here? Matthew Perkins says, Happy New Year. I have an LTD with a maxed out truss rod and still a lot of relief I'd like to straighten. What are my options? Is the guitar junk? Well, it's hard to say. Really, the only way that you would know for sure is to crack open the neck. Thanks for the super chat comment, by the way. Is the guitar junk? That I don't know. Like I said, it's really kind of hard to tell. If it's by maxed out, is it just turning, not going anywhere, or if that's the case, a lot of times, sometimes the nut that you're turning the truss rod on has gotten a little loose, and sometimes what you can do is put an Allen wrench in there, take like a rubber mallet or something, and smack it back down in there to seat it back into place, and then get the truss rod turning again. But that I don't know. It's hard to say, and I would take it if you got a local luthier, somebody that you can trust, somebody to get their eyes on it. For you, that's what I would do, because it's real hard for me to diagnose problems like that, and I'm not a luthier either by any means, so it's kind of tough for me to be able to diagnose those things without having it in front of me. But I would get another set of eyes on it before you toss it, though. So if it's a bolt-on neck model, in which case you could if that is the case, you can just replace the neck. Assuming you can find one for that model. But as far as the rest, is the whole thing need to go to the dumpster, or that I haven't seen a guitar yet that needed to go to the dumpster. So, there's usually a way to fix it. Now, how much it's going to cost, I don't know. But one way or another, there's usually a way to fix it. Rockin' Dave Byron says, a guy from Romania gave me $80 for 2 USA-made DoD pedals. Red distortion on a blue chorus pedal. He said there's a huge market for USA-made pedals, but he was going to clone them, I think. Interesting. Well, if it was a blue chorus, that was probably the Icebox chorus. Those are I've had my eyes on. I've been trying to track one of those down for a while now. That's a great chorus pedal. The red distortion, I'm not. If it's that could be anything. To be honest, I'm not sure. But regardless, that's interesting that USA made DoD pedals are a big thing over in Eastern Europe. Jeff Parker says, seen the new Ibanez 2021 lineup. Anything stand out to you? The couple I like. I haven't. I know Andy from the Guitar Geek channel. He just posted a video, with he had Daniel Gathke from Ibanez tagged in the Facebook post promoting that video. But he was saying he was basically going through the entire 2021 line. I haven't had a chance to watch that video yet, but Andy's pretty thorough. So. Yeah, you know, we will. I'll have to check that out and get back with you. But my niece here says, "What are you buying?" What, I'm not sure what you're referring to. I buy lots of things. Mikey Gabbard says he's just ordered Ocean's 12. That's on the way. That's a pretty good reverb pedal. So it's a little crazier than I would. You know, that's starting to get a little bit too close to effects processor land for me. There's a little too much going on for it that I would get to the point I'd be spending more time turning knobs and trying to find settings than I would anything else. Christopher Bass says, why do we pronounce Ibanez wrong on purpose? Did it become a Japanese word with new pronunciation or something in the early 1900s? That I can't tell you, but Ibanez have, you know, being Japanese, you know, they don't use the, I mean, it's the same name. It's just, you know, it's not the Hispanic pronunciation of Ibanez that many of us over here in the West are familiar with. But, you know, regardless, I mean, the company has always pronounced it Ibanez, so if that's how they want to, if that's how they want their name to be pronounced, then that's how they're going to be pronounced. So, Bibster's Repair Shop says, make sure to hit the like button, guys. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, please hit the like button. It does help. My niece hurt says I'm the opposite. You can call me whatever, unless you're intentionally being a jerk about what name you're calling me. Then I will let you know. I blocked a dude last week from specifically for, well, you know, he called me Rob, but it was a guy who was actually a longtime viewer. He was, you know, raising a stink up in the comments section over a video title of all things, and, you know, claiming clickbait, you know. So, you know, I mean, God forbid, I try to come up with a catchy title to generate more views. I mean, you know, it's not like that's not anything I want. So, you know, so you know, he was, you know, he would hang out in all the, you know, all the live streams and everything, and then all of a sudden, this, you know, this one instance, you know, and you know, I could forgive, you know, I get past somebody disagreeing with me on something. That's not, you know, I mean, that's life, but, you know, I don't care about that. But, you know, when you go out of your way, you know, he knows how I feel about that, you know, and the last thing that he did was he called me Rob, and that's, you know, that's when goodbye, I don't need it. So. Rocket Day Byron says, I always show respect. And you do always show respect. You always have. Always have. Dave Byron's a good dude, man. You guys ought to go check out his channel, actually. He's when you do your live streams, I think it's Sundays. At least it was once upon a time anyway, or maybe it's late Saturday afternoons. You know, that I can't recall exactly when you do them these days, but you know, he does some pretty informative stuff, live stream stuff on his channel, so you guys ought to go check him out. Doc Amos Roxy says, love or hate him, was watching some 70-year-old Ted Nugent just power jam like he's 20. Why is he not talked about more? He's talked about quite a bit, actually. You know, I still to this day, even just as, you know, just as a guitar player, you know, Ted Nugent's always been a great guitar player. Great guitar player. But he's had been a lot of work this year for like a lot of other musicians. So, fortunately, I mean, he's already made most of his money. He didn't really need it, but. But yeah, Ted Nugent's Ted Nugent's a great guitar player. I'm not going to get into his politics, but as a musician, I've always been a Ted Nugent fan. Yep, always been a Ted Nugent. Whenever Ted Nugent was coming to play Indianapolis, I'd always tell people, yep, I'm Saturday night going to see Ted. I always refer to him as Ted. JG Mopar says Uncle Ted's one of my favorite guitar players. There you go. Bibster's Repair Shop says my wallet doesn't always enjoy rabbit holes. Mine doesn't either. I'm in the middle of upgrading my my guitar room. The room that you guys know was the dungeon, and I've had a 24 track Tascam multi-track player in there that I've really all I use it for. It's way overkill for what I use it for, but it's just basic playthrough demos of whatever gear I'm demoing, or and I've used it for a few other things, but generally speaking, it's done the job okay. But now I've got so many amps out there, and it's a real pain in the ass to to bring any of them out here just so I can plug them into my DAW. So. So I'm in the middle of, in fact, I've got my multi-track thing listed for sale on Facebook right now. So as soon as that goes, I'm going to take that money and put it towards, I'm actually going to build a PC in there for, strictly for, recording purposes in that room. And, that whole thing started as, should I build a PC, or should I just get a, not inexpensive, but, a refurbished laptop of some kind, which is how I wound up with this computer. This is just a refurbished Dell that served me well. And, get the whole thing done for $300 or $400 and call it a day. And, the more I've thought about it, I was like, well, if I build a PC, it's going to save me more money down in the long run, and then that turned into, building a $400 or $500 PC into, this huge mammer jammer, my buddy, Tony Ramsey's talking me into, building this high powered gaming PC, which I'm not a PC gamer at all, so I don't know why I'm even considering this, but I'm taking his word for it. He hasn't steered me wrong yet, so but this is going to be a little bit more, I think it's going to be a little bit more of an investment than I initially thought it was going to be. My knee shirt says, "What's for lunch/dinner?" Well, we are, being that yesterday was a holiday, and our week kind of got knocked off kilter a little bit. We are going to have our weekly. My wife and I are going to have our weekly TV date night where I go and get Qdoba and bring it home, and we eat our Qdoba, which we love, and watch our shows together. So Qdoba. And then tomorrow, I don't have anything super duper planned except watching football. I have been in my fantasy league this year. I have been out of a 10-team league. I have been in 10th place all year. This is the worst fantasy team I've ever had. And all of a sudden, I went on a 4-game win streak at the very end, including the playoffs. Now all of a sudden, I'm in the finals. So. I actually have a chance to win this thing tomorrow. It's a small chance, and my opponent is heavily predicted to beat me. But even still, if second place would be, coming from 10th last, would still be pretty impressive. Be even better if I beat him. So, but some of my best players are already getting benched because they're playing for the Chiefs, who already got everything locked up. The Chiefs aren't playing anybody tomorrow, so that leaves me without Tyreek Hill. Oh well. Hmm. Let's see. Give me a minute. I'm gonna get caught up here. JG Mopar says the only effects I like are chorus and univibe, sometimes delay. Pretty much run guitar, cable, amp. Nothing wrong with that, man. I'm kind of an effects nut, so I don't get to say that, but God, I don't know how I'd ever. Yeah, now that I think about it, if I ever had to go without a delay pedal, I'd be, I couldn't do it. I mean, I could do it, but it just delay in particular is a lot of fun for me. Delay is a lot of fun for me, and I also like to have something that warbles, so a phaser or a flanger or something like that on there, and chorus sometimes warbles. Chorus is great for clean stuff. Mm-hmm. Thunder Falcon says, Matthew, tried dropping down the string gauges and give it a month. Suggest dropping down 2 gauges. Heard McKnight talk about it last night. It's kind of a Hail Mary pass, though. I didn't see Phil's live stream, which I assume you're referring to. But now that I think about it, it does make a lot of sense. If you got a truss rod that's maxed all the way out, sounds like you've got power cables on there for strings, and which means your tension on the neck is way too high. So if you go to a lighter gauge set of strings, you won't have any choice but to loosen it. In which case you'll get to sit. You'll get the neck back to sitting where it's supposed to be. So that I didn't think about. Yeah, that which never made sense to me until just now as I'm thinking about it. Because I've never. I've never been a big fan of heavy strings anyway. Why anybody would put 13s or 14s or 15s on any guitar, I don't care what tuning you're in, is just, mind-boggling. That's if you're going that heavy, that's too freaking heavy. So, and you're damaging your guitar. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan used to play 17s, and finally his, his techs, his, people that worked that took care of his gear all told him, they had to talk him down to, quit using strings that heavy because it was ruining the necks on all of his guitars, and they just couldn't maintain them properly. So. Roy Batty says, Robert, I'm very surprised you haven't networked with other YouTubers in the guitar community. We've talked about it. With me and a couple of guys. I just mentioned Andy, the guitar geek. He and I had something planned here a couple months back, and then, unfortunately, he got busy. Is what happened. I need to remind him about that actually, but he got busy. And he's and I get it. He's got companies sending him gear that to produce videos on. They want those videos out immediately. I've been under the same gun myself, so that's that one kind of got one sideways. Me and Alan Eargasms have been kind of trying to figure something out for a while. Same thing with me and Ray from Stay Metal Ray, among others. So. A lot of these, a lot of others, I mean, those, most of the guys that I communicate with are channels that are, closer to the size of my channel. So, most of the big channels, the busier guys, the Hennings, the Pete Thorns, I mean, those guys are also busy anyway. That, I don't know how they would ever have time to, do me a favor. So, one day we'll see. Conversations have been had. Just haven't figured out how to pull it off yet because everybody's so busy right now. Let's see. Matthew Perkins says running 10 to 42. Just ordered some 8s. Fingers crossed. Not sure what the previous owner was running. 10. Okay. Well, that's not your string gauge then. I mean, you can try it. I don't know where you're tuning. If you run at 8s, I mean, I would assume you're tuning. You probably got it tuned to E standard. In which case, or something close to it. In which case, if you were running 10s and you go to 8s, I mean, that alone, the string tension there alone should give you a little bit of relief. That you can loosen the truss rod a little bit, get them to sit and get the action back closer to where you need it. So yeah, I mean, give that a shot. Plus, you might like 8s. 8s will give you a little bit tighter bottom end anyway. My niece says you mentioned something about a fund. Well, I was referring to the channel fund. There's a link in the description of should be in the description of this video as well. But all of my videos to my PayPal account. So, for people that like JG Mopar usually prefers to donate and support the channel that way because then. That prevents that makes sure YouTube doesn't take the huge cut that they do. And for those that do prefer to donate through YouTube, I don't complain about that either, because it's still far better than zero and still very, very much appreciated. But he has been donating fairly regularly to the PayPal fund here recently, so that's what I was referring to. And that money is it goes towards supporting the channel and a number of other things. Actually, it all goes towards supporting the channel. I mean, that's how I'm able to buy gear and keep this thing going because I don't have a steady stream of companies that are sending me. I don't get 2 pieces of gear in the mail a week to demo. So, that doesn't happen. So a lot of the stuff I generally buy, but I buy most of it myself. So. JG Mopar says, what about cables? What's everyone's favorite cable? Mine's Mogami Gold series, no question. Mogami Gold never failed me. Best cables on the planet, man. They're reliable. They never short out. They're not theft proof. They're not dumbass proof if you lose one. But anything else, any other regular problems with cables, they don't seem to be nearly as susceptible to that other stuff. Like the old Monster cables, and Monster cable apparently are back. I just saw a few weeks back. But Monster cables, the old Monster cables were notorious for shorting out all the time. So. Where was I? Oh yeah, yeah. Back to the networking thing with other YouTube. I don't know. Is that something you guys want to see? You guys want to see me on other channels? You want to see other people on my channel? I'd be curious to hear what you guys would enjoy, what you guys would get a kick out of. So. Ben Potter says, "What's your opinion on the Ibanez Axion label line of guitars?" I like them. I think they're pretty well built guitars. They're like in the line. They seem to kind of sit like between the premiums and the iron labels. I think as far as levels of appointments / quality. Uh, that they're as far as their import lines go. I mean, they're some of the nicer ones that they make. So yeah, I like them. I like them quite a bit. Hayden Hartley says, "Would you eat a school bus for $10? Why would I eat a school bus for $10 or any amount of money? Why would I eat a school bus?" Matthew Perkins says, "In the dude, that's what you call me, that or duder or duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing." Oh, Big Lebowski. Okay, I actually haven't seen that movie. I suppose I need to see that movie. Oh man, dude, you guys are being way too kind to the YouTube fund or to the PayPal account today, man. My knees hurt. Just dropped a donation in there. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hmm. Neil Davis says, "Have you ever ordered a custom built guitar for yourself? And if so, how did that go?" I never have. I've thought about it a number of times, and my biggest concern, especially with as many custom guitar builders as there are that are out there nowadays, uh, I mean, to go for, there's a lot of people that can do it, and a lot of people that can build really, really nice guitars. But if I ever need to, I mean, it's not really, that's not really an investment as much as it is I mean, that's a one-time expense that, that I'm probably never going to see again. So, if I'm in a position I would ever need to sell it, I mean, I would never get even even half of my investment back out of it in a lot of cases, unless it's it's a PRS or something, one of those, one of the big names. But but when you're talking about one of the big brands, then you're getting up and what, $6,000-7,000 easy. So yeah, I don't know. I've it's one of those things that I've always wanted to order, custom order a Kiesel. And that's probably one that I would, that might be the exception to what I'm talking about. If I were going to do it, it would be Kiesel. If I were going to do it, it would be a Kiesel. So, like I said, I've never done it. I've thought about it, but, it just hasn't made sense for me to do it yet. So. Daveescobar says, "Robert's Guitar Dungeon buddy picking me up for burritos and pawn shopping. Have a good Saturday. See you on the next stream." Awesome, man. Burritos and pawn shopping. That sounds like a pretty good Saturday afternoon to me. John Giraldi says, "PC builds are the worst rabbit hole." Yeah, they're even worse if you don't know anything about it, like me. So I mean, I'm having to research all these different components and the whole shebang. I mean, I'm not close to making any decisions or pulling a trigger on anything yet. So I mean, I've decided it's the route that I'm going to go. So I mean, I've gotten that far, but now it's a matter of finding the right motherboard and, choosing the right processor and, what's the difference between this 32 gigs of RAM and that 32 gigs of RAM? Was there, why is 150 or $100 more than the other? There's just a lot of stuff like that I don't know. So. Matthew Perkins says, "Qdoba for the win." Doc Amos Roxy says, "What's a Qdoba?" Matthew Perkins says, "Similar to Chipotle." Qdoba actually came first. Chipotle came around. They were, I was actually reading up on Chipotle's history recently, and they were, they started out, they had, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations out in like Colorado or something, and they were kind of sort of looking to expand out a little bit and open a few more locations. Well, somehow McDonald's got involved, and McDonald's decided to invest, and they invested, and all of a sudden, with the McDonald's investment, they went from 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 locations to as this huge national chain. And then once they grew and they got to a certain point, McDonald's had made their money. They made back their investment plus the amount the profit that they had agreed on, and the story. And now Chipotle are back to their own entity, no longer under the McDonald's umbrella. But it's a pretty amazing story, man. It's a little small little Qdoba like Mexican burrito place that all of a sudden blows up to this national conglomerate, because a big company, a big company was willing to invest and help out. And I bet McDonald's made a killing on that too. Dave Byron says, I agree, Robert. I have a guitar channel, not a political channel. Same. Yep. Nope. No politics here. I admit I have some really, really strong political opinions, but they have no place on my YouTube channel or anywhere near it. If you want to see me argue about politics, and you'll find some of the threads that I'm on Facebook, but And John Giraldi hitting up the PayPal the PayPal fund today. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, guys. Doc Amos Roxy says Mexican food sounds great after all the holiday food. When does Mexican food not sound great? Mexican food rules. I could eat Mexican food every day, all day. That's the Texan in me speaking, I think, but my niece here says I made tamales yesterday. Sauce made from dried peppers. Sounds good. I used to work with a guy, a buddy of mine. Whoa. She's not even barking at anything. She's barking just at nothing. I had a buddy of mine that, his wife is from Mexico, and, I guess that's, part of her family's tradition. They all, she and her mom and her sisters and, everybody, they all get together every year, around the holidays and, and make just this massive pile of homemade tamales, from scratch, the corn husk wrappers and everything. And, then then they have a great big huge tamale feast on New Year's, and then they always make some extra so that everybody can take some to work and give their friends at work some fresh homemade tamales. So that sounds good. What are you barking at, little girl? Come here. Come on, you want to say hi to everybody? Oh, come here. Now I got a hold of you. Yeah. She's all excited about something. I'm not sure what, but yeah. Let's see. My where was I? Doc Amos Roxy says Uncle Ted blows away today's neo speed metal freaks. That is true. If you have not seen, if you've not seen Uncle Ted shred his ass off, you need to. And Ted Nugent is a fast guitar player. My niece here says my cheap $20 pedals seem to create a lot of white noise coming from the amp. Are higher price pedals less noisy? Not necessarily, believe it or not. There's sometimes inexpensive pedals are noisy just because they're inexpensive, but it's not usually that. Let's see. Come here. No, okay. Believe it or not, like it just depends. There was this guy, for example, that had a little bit of noise coming out of it, not a whole lot, but some. Just a little bit, nothing crazy. But it was there. It was enough that when I recorded with it, I did put a noise suppressor on it, so noise gate, rather, in post production. But there's, some others that, I demoed something recently that was really, that was actually pretty high dollar that was, that was actually really noisy. And, I had to play with the gates quite a bit to get that thing calmed down. So, like I said, sometimes they are noisy just because they're cheap, but, it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes sometimes pedals are noisy just because they're noisy. So, Ivan has 89 delay, for example. The thing is, delay's been around forever, but it's notoriously noisy. So, especially nowadays, those things sell for what, $200 or something. Maybe not that expensive, but Orville Farley says, if you could have only one amp with a good clean and dirty channel, what would you pick? Ooh. One amp, so two channel amp, one good clean channel, one good dirty channel. I would probably... Ooh. Honestly, I would probably stick with my JCM 900, to tell you the truth. I would probably stick with my dual reverb. So, that amp does exactly that. It's got a good clean channel, which is unusual for a Marshall, and, there's plenty, the gain channel has plenty of gain for me. In a lot of cases, it's got more than I would ever need. So, I would still stick with my JCM 900. Or somebody else mentioned, I see somebody else mention the DSL, Marshall DSLs, further down on the thread, which would also be a good choice. My niece hurt says I have a monster cable, 0 issues, but it never leaves my living room. If they don't really go anywhere, that they wasn't really the problem. The problem is if you took them out, if you with monster cables, the old ones anyway. I haven't tried the new ones. Maybe they fix this problem, but the old ones, especially if you gigged with them a lot, it wasn't a matter if they were going to short out; it was when. We were a dealer for them, and they had a lifetime warranty, and I lost count how many I did cable swaps, warranty cable swaps on monster cables all the time. Never Mogamis. I bet you I didn't do half a dozen Mogami cable swaps the entire time I was there, over years. I did that many monster cables a month. Easy. Fitting you. Roy Batty says, just pop into people's streams and say hi. Say hi, Ben Coombs, Pete, RJ, Stephen Boston, Tone King. And I do from time to time. Like I popped into. I used to watch Pete Thorne's. Pete Thorne's live stream fairly often. And sometimes I still do. Right now it's I'm such a huge football fan. He's on like right in the middle of the day, usually right in the middle when the Colts are playing on Sundays. So the Colts take priority in this house. The rest of those guys, I never even know when they're on. So, but I'll make a point to pop in and hang out at pop into other channels live streams just to say hey and see what's what. Like I said, honestly, I don't even know how many of those guys even know who I am. So, if any. And Christopher Bass is off to enjoy his weekend. See you, buddy. Shred Streak says hopes for this channel in 2021. Whew. I don't know. I haven't really given it a lot of thought. Alan over at Geargasms was, he was comparing his, what the goals that he had set for himself. He had set for himself at the beginning of 2020 for his channel. That he had intentionally set them to be pretty unobtainable. Just because he wanted to see how well he'd do, and he ended up achieving, surpassing all of those goals that he set as far as, number of views and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't really want to think too much in the terms of, the metrics or analytics or anything. So, I guess, what I would really like to do is I want to demo more guitars. Is what I want to do. I want to demo more guitars and more amps, and not quite so many pedals. But that's, sometimes that's easier said than done, and, the amp demos everybody wants to see are, the really, really high end stuff. And, a lot of those companies, if they're not, assuming they're not built to order, which is the case for a lot of them, like Zoe, or like Diesel, for example, getting them to send me an amp to demo, even if it's, even if I got to send it back to them, is not all. I'm still a little small for them to be willing, for a lot of those companies to be willing to do that. But I don't know. I have reached out and to several guitar companies anyway, because I really do want to demo more guitars than anything else. So hopefully maybe that'll happen. Joan Giraldi says empanada leftovers for Zoe. No, Zoe doesn't get people food. She's we keep her on a pretty strict diet. We'll give her a little pieces of like shredded cheese every now and again, and that's about the closest she gets. So, we keep her on a pretty strict doggy diet. We want her healthy. So we want her healthy, and don't want her eating anything she shouldn't be getting into. Right? Stay Curious says, what would you recommend as a humbucker for hard rock that remains tight? Someone recommended Pearly Gates. Pearly Gates to get there. It's not Pearly Gates is the highest output humbucker in the world. It's a great pickup, but it's not real high output. I would say I would probably suggest usually the Duncan JB will do just about do that plus anything else you need it to do. You might also check into the full shred. Because the full shred is it's actually a pretty also a pretty moderate output humbucker, but it sounds like it's a high output humbucker. So same with the Screaming Demon. Screaming Demon also fits that description, believe it or not. So. Yeah, that's probably what I would probably start with the JB. So, mm, JG Mopar says I have dirty power in my house, even with good EMI RFI blocking power strip. My pedals are still noisy. I have to run batteries usually. Yeah, if you got some old wiring, in a house or bad wiring, something like that. I mean, that can, there was a venue here in town that I think has since closed, but just everybody played there at one point in time or another because it was a great room. It was a great room. They always drew a crowd, but so it was also a lot of fun to play. But that building was notoriously noisy, I remember, guys were trying the Hum X's and the high dollar power conditioners, everything we could, everything we could try to get, to try to get rid of at least some of the noise. And some of those things, work to suppress it a little bit, but nothing ever got rid of it all the way. I mean, it was just really, really bad wiring. Roy Batty says, sure they do. You have 22,000 subs. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, as far as whether or not those guys know who I am, uh, he says, turn on low latency to your mega lag. I've actually got it on the middle setting. I can't change it while I'm in the middle of a live stream, unfortunately. So, I mean, once it's set, it's set. But I can try to put it on ultra low here when I do this next week and see if that fixes it. So, my apologies. I thought I had that. Well, if it's on, if it's lagging, that'd be. I don't know. I'll try the highest setting next week when I get back on here. So, and hope that my computer doesn't freak out and try to blow up on me. Guitar Gear Guy says, hey, glad to be here for the show. Please share a quick joke on the fly. I know you have a ton of them on tap. I really enjoy the start of all your videos with the jokes. Oh, boy. On the fly, man. The only ones that seem to be coming to mind right now are pretty inappropriate. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't want to get a I don't want to get a strike from YouTube. Yeah. Besides, I like to say the jokes for the actual videos too. So, awesome. Well, fellas, I'll tell you what, it is getting to be around 3:30 here it's after 3:30 here in my part of the world. And I am going to go enjoy the rest of my holiday weekend, and which hopefully will have absolutely nothing to do with me sitting in this chair at this desk. So, for those of you that came to hang out, I didn't even see how many viewers we had. We got 32 right now. It looks like we got maxed out about 40, not quite 50, but still not bad. So, again, sorry for the late start today, but I've talked about a lot of cool stuff. So, for those that support the channel, I greatly appreciate it very, very much. Very much. So, Happy New Year to everybody, and don't forget to check out the video tomorrow morning, and I hope you like it, and yeah, sayonara. Have a good weekend, dudes.